Hundreds of millions of people are reading these books, but only 0.1% achieved your result. What do you think you're doing differently other than the reading aspect?
I read a lot of books, but I don't finish a lot of books. I kind of am selective about what chapters I'm reading. I'm just trying to deconstruct success and pull it out of a book and really get the narrative that I can execute on. I think the difference between people that are curious intellects, that are learners, that love to have information, and people that are building businesses, whether they're an entrepreneur, a professional, an innovator, or a creator, kind of we call that epic. And wherever they fit in that acronym, it's all about execution. And I think that that's the difference is, knowledge is powerful. It's fun to have conversations and to be an intellect and to really have a deep amount of knowledge in your head.
Yeah.
That's cool. It seems like it's more cool today than it's ever been.
Yeah, podcasting.
It's like podcasting, right? I look at these guys in these podcasts, man, and it's like they have PhDs in psychology and business and biology. They know everything.
Yeah.
But all that information is great. But you know what's cool? You don't really need all of that intelligence to go execute on an amazing business idea. If you look at some of the biggest enterprises that have the best teams and are building crazy enterprise value, it's not all profoundly intellectual. So I think the key is don't get wrapped up in learning for the sake of being the smartest person in the room.
Right.
Get wrapped up in learning so you have a tactical plan that you can go execute on.
Yeah.
Right? You can actually use it. And man, you only have so much capacity in that brain. Right. And so I think you have to be a little bit selective on what you put in your head. And, it's easy to go down rabbit holes. Like I got to tell you, I love listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks that have nothing to do specifically about what I'm trying to do in business. They're good fuel. It's fun stories. But at the end of the day, it does give you perspective, but I'm really looking for that tactical information that I can go execute on, right? I want to know, what ERP you're using, what CRM you're using, what assessments are you using to find the best people in the market? How are you telling a story? How are you vision casting? Those are the things I'm looking for when I'm reading. So I'm pretty much focused on business because I just think it's the funnest game I know how to play. I'm really bad at golf. I'm really bad at a lot of other sports, but my height, I'm 5'11". It's kind of hard to dunk a basketball.
Yeah.
But you can be 5'11" or 4'11", and you can do some pretty extraordinary things when it comes to building enterprises and businesses, regardless of your height. So
yeah, I think business is a level playing field. Even females, males, doesn't matter. Yeah. If you're good at business, you're good at business.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that business is definitely got a lot of innate aspects of it. My kind of strategy in business has been, and this is going to sound a little bit out of school, but it's really been about love. It's really been about just being able to connect with people. I visited with you a little bit about when I started my first company at 24 years old.
Right.
And, my friends that joined me and the people I hired in that business, I didn't have a reputation of being a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk or I was Vic.
Yeah.
But they knew I had a big heart and that I was going to do my very best to take care of them and the customer. So compassion and empathy, I think, really play a lot into business. And again, that may sound like just not the most scientific approach because everyone's trying to get so smart, right? We all want to know every algorithm. We want to know every technology to advance and win in business. And look, I think a lot of that is kind of the price of admission. You need to be smart in your business. You need to have systems and processes and technology and a great value proposition. But it is amazing what you can accomplish if you can just be compassionate and empathetic and truly care about people. For me, it's been very powerful, and still today, I want to love my customer. I want to love my employees. I'm not always that guy. I can drop a lot of F-bombs and I can really be every once in a while have some contentious nature about me. But I think that there's kind of a silver bullet in business today. If you can be compassionate and empathetic, and you can be authentic, and really, authentic's a word we use loosely. And I think authenticity is driven by heart, and it's hard to fake heart.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, you don't have to know everything in the world there is to know about business.
That is so interesting to me because a lot of employees fear their boss. A lot of people teach, entrepreneurs to separate business and emotion, but you're doing the opposite.
Look, I've got two sons that are, my best friends, and I love them and they're amazing. And I didn't build a relationship with them based on fear. I built a relationship on them with unwavering just love, right? I mean, when they did something really dumb or when I did something really dumb, love is awesome insurance. Love is the greatest insurance. I mean, if you really have a good heart and you really can care about people, you can do a lot wrong, and you can still have a lot of grace. So, for me, I'm never going to be a perfect employer. We're never going to have the best business plan. We're never going to pay the most in the market. But is what we can do is love on people the most. And again, I know that doesn't sound like, some profound strategy and not of high intellect. I don't want to act like we just run around companies giving hugs, but I'll tell you, man, those hugs are pretty powerful.
It's cool because it keeps the employees with a sense of purpose. They want to be there. Like you said, a lot of the people you started with, you ended with, which is pretty rare.
There's a mindset in today's world that when you're an employer, you have a business, if you have somebody that's disenchanted, they're unhappy, they come to you and they say, hey, I'm out of here, I'm leaving, I'm done. There's a lot of employers in today's world that say, okay, sorry, it didn't work out, see you later. Look, I've had a lot of times in my business profession that I've had great talent where I couldn't let my own pride get in the way when they were thinking about doing something different because maybe they were in a season of trial and tribulations personally or trial and tribulations in the business, so saving people is back to that heart thing. I mean, when people say, hey, I'm leaving, there's a better opportunity. I want to be able to sit across the table from that person and be on an unequal playing field when it comes to really caring about them and their future. And so my point saying that is I've had to save a lot of employees along the way because, we like change, we like, differences. And I think when you can illustrate that you really care about someone, that you have a better chance to retain them.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance. Just because you're leaving for maybe a higher salary, you might not be as happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's true. And look, we live in a world today where I think people that are professional and intelligent and consistent and have tenacity and know how to fight through adversity and are really focused on delivering value to not just the organization, but what's even more important, the organization's customer base. If you're that individual, you can make as much money as you want if you know how to position yourself right, and if you're around the right people that really want to help you develop. It's easy to make the money, but the reality of it is longevity. That's something I love about Warren Buffett, right? I mean, he is just consistent and he's been doing the same thing for his entire career.
Right.
But I look at people like that and people that are consistent, that stick with something and don't just move around and want to give up. There's a lot of reward in that. Yeah.
What else did you learn from Buffett? I mean, being around him, you must have learned a lot.
Yeah. So Mr. Buffett has 300,000 plus employees.
Dang.
And yeah, like he's got a big ecosystem. And I didn't, we weren't lunch buddies. I did get to spend a little bit of time with Mr. Buffett when the transaction kind of took place, and that was a lot of fun. But what I learned from Warren Buffett that was most powerful for me happened long before our businesses became a Berkshire Hathaway company. Several years ago, about 10 years ago, my son and I got invited to go to a dinner that Mr. Buffett was at, and we were fortunate to be able to spend some time with him there and talk to him. And my son, Zach, was 14 years old at the time. I don't know if he thought we were having dinner with Jimmy Buffett or Warren Buffett, right? I don't know if he really knew. But here's what I can tell you. Listen to the way that Warren Buffett communicates with people, and he doesn't ever try to act like the smartest guy in the room, no matter who he's talking to. He doesn't try to use a really complex vocabulary.
Wow.
He's very down to earth, and he speaks to people very purely and very simply. And I learned a lot from that because I feel like I, until then had felt like the smartest person and the one that had the most expanded vocabulary and the one that could just be the most powerful is the one that was going to win. And if you really think about what Mr. Buffett does is he communicates, and I've seen him communicate. I've studied him far beyond the opportunity that I had for him to be an acquirer of our businesses.
Right.
I've studied him forever, and he is just down to earth, and he doesn't try to use complex terms. So he having a short conversation with my son, Zach, that same conversation he had with him, I believe is the same conversation he would have had with the smartest guy on Wall Street.
Wow.
He just doesn't try to get into deep, complex things. And he's got an amazing investment strategy. And that's if he doesn't understand the business, he doesn't invest in it.
Right.
And I see a lot of people that invest in businesses that they don't understand. And I think that offers a lot of fatigue.
Yeah, every time I've done it, I've gotten wrecked, honestly.
It's hard to fall in love with something. I mean, I'm back to business and entrepreneurialism, investing. I mean, for me, it's a journey of love. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like when I think of like building a new brand and building a new team and building a new company and going to market and capturing market share and filling a product market gap, man, I want to be in love with what I'm doing. I mean, I
Right.
want to be ferocious about it. And if you're an investor and you don't understand the complexities of a business and things aren't going well, yeah, it usually doesn't work out for you. I mean, if you're just buying stock in, some complex AI platform and you see it as a gamble and you hope it works and it's rounding out your portfolio, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. But honestly, at the end of the day, if things aren't going well there, you're never really going to understand why.
Right.
And there's a lot of businesses that you can invest in where you really can understand why, and that why is important.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of your success because a lot of people, the number one important thing is money, chasing revenue,
Yeah.
money. But it sounds like you just truly love building.
Man, I love building. I love generating revenue and profitability into a business because it is where the critical mass and the flywheel and the inertia really come into play. I love making profit in companies because we can continue to make the business bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Right.
I don't know how to run a business that doesn't have profitability. A lot of people are focused on, man, I'm going to build a business and we're going to have big revenue and someday we're going to be this massive powerhouse.
Right.
I'm always focused on generating profitability because I want to build the business bigger, and I know that that's the best way to do it. So business really is a dynamic way to build a unique community. A lot of people talk about culture, and culture is so important, but culture is really a derivative of building a community. And if you think about it, if we were going to go out tomorrow and we were going to build a community that we wanted to exist in, that we wanted to flourish in, that we wanted to get fulfillment and joy in, and we wanted to build something that was just big and badass and amazing, right? If you really architected what that community looks like, that's how you should think about a business, right? You've got your internal community, which are the people that you're doing business with, that you're building that business with. And then you've got the external community, your customers, we'll call it. But it's all about building community. So, money for me has never provided fulfillment or joy. It's definitely, listen, the convenience of money is awesome.
Yeah.
And I've bought some cool cars and cool planes, and cool houses. I mean, I've done all of that. But you know why I love those things if you really think about it? I love those assets. I love those tools because they allow me to enjoy the community, right? I mean, I would never want a one-seater airplane.
No.
I want to enjoy that with people. I don't want a one-seater car. I want to be able to enjoy it with people. I don't want a boat that just fits one person. So when you think about everything that you're building, if you're thinking about that mindset of you want to have a powerful, flourishing community that really builds on each other, you think about money really differently. You think about, but money, listen, making money and building enterprise value in a business is awesome because it's a great reflection of an objective scorecard. It means that it's working.
Right.
Right. As long as you're legal and you're doing it right, it means that it's working. So that's powerful. And let me tell you, creating wealth is a very, very different thing than people that are trying to get rich. And, I love to talk about how rich is really loud and wealth is quiet. And when you think about rich in today's age, you got a lot of people that, man, rich is pompous. Rich is loud, it's boastful. Rich is I'm standing on top of my airplane, right? But you don't ever see those people standing on top of their airplane with other people. They're standing on top of their airplane.
Wow.
And it's really weird, right? Because think about like the Academy Awards. Think about the Grammys. Think about think about these award shows we watch. Think about when the music plays to get the person off the stage. Why is that music playing? It's playing because they're still talking about the people that helped them get to where they are. It's playing because they're talking about their cast, their managers, their supporting people. And it seems like success in business, we want to stand on that plane. We want to stand out front. We want to stand in front of that building. And we want to say, look what I did. I can tell you right now, anyone that's ever worked in any of my businesses, anybody that's part of building companies that I'm building today, they know it's about them, that it's not about me.
Wow.
Right? And that sounds like a really sweet thing for me to say, and maybe even a little bit self-inflating, but it's truly my strategy is I want to build community. I want to do it with other people. I mean, I know a lot of people that are, 60, 70, 80 years old that have billions of dollars, and they are lonely.
Wow.
They are lonely because they built this entire ecosystem around themselves. And let me tell you what else is tough. If it's just about you, heaven forbid something happens to you, but man, you've got a valuation issue. Right? When I go look to buy a company, and I love to buy companies, I don't look at the individual and the founder and the CEO. I look at the team.
Interesting.
I want to see depth, right? Because what if that rainmaker, that amazing CEO founder gets sick tomorrow or something happens to him? You know, I think about Amazon, and you look at a guy like Jeff Bezos that stepped away from Amazon, and Amazon's still growing and on fire.
Right.
He should get 1,000 times more credit for building an extraordinary team of people that could sustain and continue to build and grow a business in his absence than he should get as being a profound intellect that did it all himself, because it wasn't about him, right? Any of these people that are building these businesses that are amazing, I promise you, it's the big ones, not the ones that we see on social media.
Yeah.
Not the ones that pop up and it's, you know, some guy created something and sold it for a bunch of money once, but the ones that are creating sustainable enterprise value businesses. Those are businesses that are built because of all the people that are involved, not because of the individual. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it valuable, please watch this next one. I think you're going to love it.